his takes on him. Host of Running with Roman, host of the Ticket Puncher Show, owner of the Real Spill Podcast Network. Roman Kelly, my man, how's your day been?
I'm doing great. I'm having a good day here. It got really stuffy in the studio in the last hour and a half. So
I'm so hot in there.
I'm sweating. I'm kind of hot a little bit right now. But outside of that, I've been excited to get back talking about our Louisville Kings. It's been a long time for me, having been off the air, 2 weeks now, basically, since I've gotten to talk about them last. And we've got a lot of news, a lot of new things as the season is right around the corner. We will have our first couple of games, and we've got some themes as well that we're going to be chatting about. And I'm excited to see your all's, not necessarily even your opinions. I want to know what you're wearing, what the plan is on these theme days and whatnot. And just a couple of other exciting tidbits to get into as we are still continuing on and trying to generate excitement for this three-man front show, for this Louisville Kings team through the three-man front show. And I'm just ready to get into it.
Oh, I think we're all ready to get into it. Roman kind of alluded to it already. We're going to talk about the uniform announcement for every team in the league this year, which I really liked how they rolled it out. They did it kind of day by day, let the suspense build, and Louisville was obviously one of the final teams. They have, like Roman said, every game this season, or at least the home games, are going to be themed. People are going to be given some giveaways. We'll talk about that, and a little bit of news on the betting side we're going to get to towards the end of the show, which I'm excited to talk about. But before we jump into any of the new stuff, I want to talk about some of the old stuff that we talked about last week, and it's because Roman wasn't here. I want to get his take, so I sent a clip over to the Big X Sports Radio Twitter account. I'm going to give Roman a few seconds to pull that up, but it is essentially Grant and I talked to Coach Redmond last week about there was some news coming out from the Dallas Renegades head coach Rick Neuheisel mentioning a few rule changes to the UFL, which included a 4-point field goal and possibly no punting past the 50-yard line. Coach was optimistic about this. He thought that it seemed like in the way he spoke about it that this is kind of leading conversation between the coaching staff and between the executives of the UFL, and they're really confident that this stuff is going to get through. But before we get Roman's take, I want to go ahead and play the clip. You have it ready, Roman?
Will it be ultra competitive? 100%. Right when you watch it on TV, will you be excited about that we get a 4-point field goal, right? Yep. When it's 60 yards or longer? We can make this incredibly fun. But what we don't want to do is be climbing over each other trying to get somebody else's job, which sometimes in the competitive world that is the NFL or college can happen. So we can take it, just make the big time where we are.
The UFL, I think, has that have been transformative.
We are not going to punt when you cross the 50. It's illegal to punt.
I love that.
So now you've got more people going for it. Hey, listen, let's be aggressive. Let's take the pressure off the coach for being aggressive. Let's make you be aggressive. And let's will it be ultra competitive? 100%. When you watch it on TV, will you be excited about that we get a 4-point field goal, right? Yep. When it's 60 yards or longer? We can make this incredibly fun.
I think it's the same
but
clip.
What we don't want to do is...
Well, he mentioned a couple things that I want to bring up. He says, I thought we were going to be able to play that clip last week, but the interview ran pretty long. We don't have very lot of time, but he says two things that stood out to me. One, he says that he wants to take the aggressiveness off the shoulders of the coaches and just make the league aggressive. So you don't get those situations where, well, maybe if this works out, it's the most genius play ever. If it doesn't work out, you look like an idiot. You take those away. He also says, we are not punting past the 50-yard line. It is illegal. And I want to stress that this has not been announced by the UFL or anything yet. This has not been confirmed this is going to happen. But Coach Rick Neuheisel of the Dallas Renegades sounds extremely confident that this is going to be happening this coming season. We talked about this a little bit last week. Like I said, Grant, Roman, what's your opinion on these rules?
I like them. I like the punting rule. The UFL has already at a disadvantage, being a league that people view as lesser. They view it as like the wannabes of pro football, right? And they've got to find ways to make things exciting and to bring new fans in and to show that this is a different aspect of football. If they just try to do the same exact thing with what people view as lesser talent that the NFL is doing, you're not going to bring those same eyes in. Knowing that there's going to be potential different rules to make this kind of aspect of football just a smidge different, but still ultimately the same game, and in a way that's probably going to lead into more points, and if not, more excitement, because if you go for it on 4th down and you're on the opponent's, 48 and you don't get it, they're in good field positioning now. I like that. That's how it should be. I would like to see the NFL incorporate this rule of not being able to punt past the 50-yard line. Or, it's field goal or go for it only, right? I think that this is awesome. So that would be a good addition. I don't want 4-point field goals, if I'm being honest. I don't think that is just too much, in my opinion. It's changing the game in a way that you're going to try to, like, tactically go about getting those field goals, I think. So, I mean, you're not going to have a bunch of kids in this league who can hit 60-yarders to begin with.
Still, I do think it adds to, like, the suspense of a game. When you have a 24-20 game and, if you have 30 seconds left, you can go out there and try to bang a 60-yarder for the tie. I think it adds a little bit more suspense to the game, but I do get where you're coming from.
I like that, like, we're right. Like, if you're down 4, it's not go for it or lose, technically. That is a cool aspect. I think that, that's the whole fun in the NFL, though, right? You look at what the Bears did in their playoff game when they were down 4, the way that they had to go about attacking at the end of that game. You're only getting those kinds of throws because they don't have an option. It just creates another option that other football games don't have, which is, it's kind of contradictory to the punting point because other football leagues don't have that. That's something that could be optional anyway, though, if you don't have to punt. This is it'd be exciting, but it would also be just a major change in field goal.
I do think it would be pretty interesting to see, like, when you get into that situation with, like, some of the philosophies of these head coaches, like, are you going to go, all or nothing and go for the big bang play downfield, or do you settle for the 4-point play and try to go into overtime? I'll be curious to see what some people around the league go for. And going off of what head coach said, I mean, he made it sound like it was kind of like letter of the law, like there was no getting around it. And honestly, like, I don't blame him.
Like a gentleman's game.
Like, anytime, like, Mike Rapoli comes on, that dude is shooting WWE promos. Like, he is, anything he can talk about, he's throwing out there. You've seen it with some of these rule changes. He's been talking a lot in terms of, like, fantasy football, DraftKings. We've seen between the Louisville Kings account and the DraftKings account kind of, going back and forth with each other as far as camaraderie goes.
It is fun. You made a good point, Roman, that I also don't really know about the 4-point field goal rule, especially when you get to that kind of 45 to 50-yard range on the field where you can't, like you said, you're not allowed to punt. You have to go for it. It poses the interesting question of, do you take the chance and you go for a first down, or do you kick the long field goal and try and go for 4 points? And that's a very weird area. But it's funny because I think looking at, you said that you like the no punt at the past 50-yard line and you would like to see something like that in the NFL. I think everybody would, but on the other end, the 4-point field goal rule sounds a lot easier to adopt within a league like the NFL than the no punts past the 50-yard line. I feel like that would be more open to change because of the success the strength of kickers within the NFL recently. Have we seen where it seems like at this point, if your kicker can't kick 55-plus yards, these dudes are booting them off the waiver wire. These dudes are getting guys off of soccer teams. You got Brandon Aubrey, who wasn't even going to be a Dallas Cowboy. He was going to retire in general and go back to his everyday job, and they brought him out here, and now he's one of the best kickers in the country. But looking at these rules, it seems like you said Rapoli, and he's doing a lot of campaigning for this league right now, which I think is great. Do you think that they're adding these rules not only just for the excitement of the game and trying to elevate the game, but because of what happened last year with them adopting the kickoff rule, that they're saying, if we can keep changing rules in this league, maybe we can formulate them to adapt to us? Do you think that might be in play?
Kind of become the guinea pig for some rule changes that we want all of football to adapt? I wouldn't be mad at that. Right. I can see that kind of being the case. I think there's other things that they could do, too. It's just for the sake of rule change being the topic here. If you want to make rule changes like this, give them an extra point on 2-point conversions. Make them 3-point conversions, right? Take away field goal extra point attempts. You got to go for 2. I think there's a lot of different things you can kind of do to create more excitement and just more points overall in football games.
I mean, yeah, because he was I want to say he was out in St. Louis for the Battlehawks for their fan rally, and they were interviewing him over a couple things in terms of, like, he wants to be able to expand the popularity of the league this year. He wants to build the communities within the towns this year and having the team spend a little bit more time. Saying even going into next year, he wants to find a way to, whether that's practices or the players being able to live in these cities a little bit more and be a part of these communities. becoming a little bit more experimental with the game, because right now they're just trying to expand this league as much as they can popularity wise.
I want to go ahead.
Go ahead. Grant, that's a great point. That kind of makes me feel a little bit differently. I don't really change points in live time very often. The 4-point field goal at the 60. I almost feel like it'd be different if it was the 65.
Because, like, I'm kind of the same way where it's like, to me, it's a little bit more engaging if it's like 68 plus, where you're talking like record-breaking type stuff. But then again, like, we're talking like how accurate and how good are these kickers' legs going to be in this league?
What if they enacted it in a different way where it's not just a distance metric, but it's a which down it's on metric? Like, if you took the chance, say it's third down, but you have 45 yards to go, but it's 3rd and 14. If you take that kick, it ends because it's not on 4th down, because it's not a last-ditch effort, then it becomes 4 points. That would obviously need some distance. You couldn't just take a chip shot from 10 yards out.
I could see where you're coming from that, but then again, like, I don't think you have to make this so intricate. Like, I want it to be very caveman-like. I want it to be very like, I don't want them to have to throw the rule book up there every time they're lining up on 2nd down.
Like fans look over each other in the crowd saying, "So how many points is that?"
Yeah, like everybody's throwing up their 4s when he's gearing up from 65 out.
Before we move on to our next topic, I want to ask Roman one more question. Grant actually threw this on me kind of on the spot last week, and I want to get your take on it as well. He asked me if there's any rule that I could change in this league right now to make it more entertaining, and I said that I think that overtime should be field goal kickoffs. You go start from 20 yards out, and you got their 2 best kickers kick off until one misses and one makes, and that's how you play overtime in the UFL. Can you think on the top of your head right now of any rules you would change you think that would make it more interesting?
I think that'd be nice for the second overtime.
Okay.
Instead of doing a second overtime, let them play.
You go through the first period and then do it?
Yes.
I'm telling you, I don't know why when people like ask that question or think, I always think of the kickers, whether that's what I talked about last week as far as like if there's a targeting call, you send the kickers out there to do an Oklahoma drill, or they have to go out there and drill a 70-yard kick. I don't know why it always comes down, because I think the kickers going out there would just be so entertaining to see them do something else besides, running and kicking the ball.
That's a great question to have on the spot right there. I usually go to kickers as well. I typically try to find something for quarterback play if I can. There's just not much.
I can give you a minute to think about it.
Give me a minute. I'll come back.
We're going to move on to the very next topic, and we'll come back to that with Roman Kelly here in a second. The big news for this week was they announced, like I said, all of the United Football League uniforms are out now.
Thank God it's not Fanatics.
Yeah.
My God.
There were some leaked images going about, and everybody, the comments on were like, Fanatics owns this.
The people were throwing the AI images. I was like, dude, I can see the Fanatics T-shirt of this thing, and it's, oh my God. But
yeah, a lot of them were really bad. I'm not going to go through every single league uniform. We'll just touch on the Kings for right now. I love these. I think they're really tough looking. The home uniforms are they say they're listed as black. It's like an dark evergreen.
Dark green, forest green.
Yeah, it's like a forest green with neon green numbering and lettering, and they're new era uniforms. They're also sponsored by Adidas and Noble, which is a athletic brand which Mike Rapoli is apparently a majority owner of. And their away uniforms, ironically, are their grayish white uniforms with neon green lettering. And I'm mentioning this specifically because the UFL is doing something different this season that when I did my digging, I want to ask you guys about. All teams, their home uniforms are the colored ones, and their away uniforms are the all whites. So they're complete reverse of what the NFL, the NBA, soccer, what usually happens in all professional and collegiate sports. Do you guys believe that this is due to, the fans wanting more in the NFL, more color rush uniforms? They want the kind of stand out. You want to see the red v blues, the green v yellows. Like, do you think that has something to do with it? Do you think this is just an interesting take?
I can't really say. I don't think there's that much deep thought behind it. I mean, really, my only gripes with the uniforms, I wish there were different helmets.
Yeah.
Like with the grays, I wish they were, I mean, they're not going to go chromes or anything like that.
You do a matte gray helmet.
Yeah, a matte gray, or even like the same neon yellow green look up top. I think the weirdest one for me was, who was the genius behind making Orlando's home jersey black in the spring and summertime?
Yeah, I don't get that one.
That just sounds like a nightmare, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know. Who was the other one with a black home uniform? Was it Houston?
I think so.
I think those might be a little no, those might be a little bit crazy depending on like how hot it gets whenever this league kicks off. But no, I don't. Honestly, the uniforms came out. They look a lot better than like when I was first imagining what it was going to be like.
Houston is the other one.
How many NFL teams even have the Commanders have a black uniform that they wore this year? The Ravens had one.
The Niners have one.
The Niners had a black one.
They usually.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, they usually always have one the last couple of years. It was the black, and then it was more golden this year, black and gold more than anything. But yeah, a couple teams have them more black, but it seems like every other team in this league has a nice like black fit.
I really like that they're going the route of the colored uniforms are their home uniforms, so the fans are getting to see them a lot more. I'm leaning towards the fact that this is a situation where these are not most of these games aren't really travelable for people that want, if you really wanted to go and travel and follow the UFL King or the Louisville King somewhere else. I feel like it's kind of just bringing out the aesthetic at your home venue and kind of leaving the more, I don't want to say boring-ish uniforms when they're all white away, which I like. What do you guys think about
That's how
this?
it needs to be.
I think it should be too.
Well,
Put the most extravagant jersey on your home field.
And it's nice that it seems like every team has like a little bit of touch from like the hometown it's in, whether it's the gamblers and having like the poker chips on it.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville with the floral. I mean, they added on their little touch to everything. And honestly, it seems like most teams are pretty happy with it, excluding Birmingham. The Stallions hated those.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of their colorway. It's just not very attractive. It's almost like you took the Commanders and Chiefs uniforms, molded them together, and then like whitewashed them with paint. I'm not a big fan. It looks like the most stereotypical you've made a team in Madden.
It kind of looks like a really faded out Bullet East jersey.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
It kind of looks like a practice jersey.
Go Chargers! You got the heart of Bullet East sitting across from
you already know.
Any other takes you got for this Rowan thing? What do you think about our uniforms in general?
I like them. I think I'm with Grant. The first point that I had was the helmets. I would have liked to see an additional, or maybe just something extravagant on a away jersey helmet. Just give us that same pizzazz.
It would be nice.
I'm gonna hot take here. I like our colorway the most in the UFL.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it.
It would be.
I'm not even a big guy on greens.
It would be nice. Y'all remember the Cardinal bird from where we played Auburn in that initial Chick-fil-A kickoff?
The murder birds?
Yeah, I want that for every logo in this league. Every single logo with the neon green eyes.
The only one that I really don't care for, and it's not because it's bad, I'm just not a fan, is the DC Defenders uniform. I feel like we're playing the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, it's just bland. It looks like the alternate jersey to like the mean red machine from The Longest Yard.
It does look like that. It does look like that. Oh man. But I love the uniforms. I love the colorway. I like that it's not when we saw what the colors were going to be, that neon green, I was fully expecting this to just be down to the socks.
I thought it was going to be like the Seattle Seahawks color rush, and I was gonna despise it as soon as I saw it. But luckily, we got away from it.
The last thing you guys need to do, the last thing we need to do, we got to fix the logo, man. I'm still not bought into it. I feel like we're repping DraftKings with no actual sponsor right now.
We told AI to like, hey, we're from Louisville, Kentucky. Here's the DraftKings logo. Make it look like a horse and something to do with football.
It's not horrible, I guess. It's just not.
How do you guys feel about the number font?
I like it. I think it's different.
I think it's different. I don't mind it. I thought like the sharp edges is a little interesting.
I like that every team has their own almost number font.
That's what I like, though. That's what I like, that it's different.
And it's not like too extravagant. It's not like, when you go and buy a soccer jersey, you can buy the like Premier League version, the Serie A version.
Cleats, it's like how they have tiers, basically.
Yes, I like that they're not that out there, where it's like you either like one or the other. They're all kind of similar, but they have their own font, they have their own kind of shading and everything. I like that they kind of went out there with the uniforms, but also kind of kept it grounded in terms of it's not. The colors are used correctly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I like the way they use it.
One more question for Grant before we get into the betting talk. What do you think of Lucky Jackson headed to the Kings?
Honestly, pretty big get. Kid out of WKU, played for the Vikings there for a little bit, was on the Defenders last year. They were pretty upset with him getting released and ending up in our hands again. I mean, really good depth piece for this team. I mean, he'll probably have a little bit of a bigger role. I mean, hey, he played really well for the Defenders last year.
Local guy. Like getting the local players in.
Local players are always the best players for this kind of situation. Roman, you kind of already alluded to it. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take over here. This is kind of your all's thing. But betting lines for the UFL are out now. What do you guys think about
money
this?
line. I was a bit surprised to see them come this early. That's what
I was too.
That was the bit, because when it's season opening games with this much roster movement, there's no way to know. You can't know for certain. And I think that they're going a lot of based off of who's gotten players in this league that have performed at a high level in this league, and then who are we going to believe has those game breakers that we believe are going to be, the question marks on them are going to be ultimately that they're better players than they are not. So Louisville, first game of the season is obviously against the Birmingham Stallions. Opened up as 7.5-point dogs, moved all the way to 5.5, and now back to 6. Grant,
Yeah, we're the second worst odds in the league on opening weekend or opening week.
And honestly, it makes sense from a line standpoint. I mean, you're talking about a team that's so far has had great success in the spring league, going against a brand new team. But I think it's fair. Like, it wouldn't shock me if this got down to like the 3.5, 4.5 type of line. Because if you're telling me, because on when it comes to being the underdog when you're at home, it's kind of like a 3-point swing. So you're telling me it's a 2-possession game in terms of this. I think it's going to be a lot closer game than that. I think this team has a lot of talent to really throw out there.
Do we know the Stallions quarterback yet? Because I'm going to jump on this plus 6.5. If I can get an alternate line, Matt, that's kind of been where I'm at. If you're going to give me 6.5 points in the first game of the season, where these two teams are going to be feeling each other out, we're going to be having what I expect to be a versatile offense, hard to scout for in the first game of the season. You don't know if we're going to be running it more than we're throwing it, and we're going to have a quarterback that can run it as well with a defense that's going to be trying to take it away. I mean, you're just kind of chalking this up to the Birmingham side having the experience in their coaching staff and a couple of the players already having returned from last year's side. I mean,
they do have their starting quarterback. It looks like is returning. It's Matt Corral.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
He had 1,262 yards,
finest.
8 touchdowns, and 7 receptions last season for the Stallions.
I know they've put out the first week. Do they have futures or anything up, like over wins on the season?
They don't have those futures, but you can bet on the championship winner.
Yep.
Which is the interest, because the Louisville Kings are the second worst odds in the league at plus 1,800.
Plus 1,800. Stallions first, so we obviously do have the championship favorite in our first game. We never thought we were going to be favored in our first game. It's still, plus 1,800. The Battlehawks, Gamblers, and Aviators, our rosters are not much different.
Do you think that, since most of these rosters, most of them are all brand new, you have the players you can protect and bring back. Do you think that if Louisville plays, they don't have to win their first game, but if they play it close and cover the spread, do you think that we're going to see, because of the rosters that are out there, that week these odds drastically change?
Oh, everybody's going to be in a different spot.
Yeah.
Except maybe the Storm.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, it's the beginning of like college football every season. You don't know who anybody is until like week 4 or 5, and the same thing's going to go for this.
I don't think the Stallions drop out of a top 4 spot as a favorite. I don't think a Renegades drop out as a top 4 spot. I kind of think that I see both of them being in that plus 500 or better all season long. But I expect us, the Battlehawks, the Defenders, all to move around.
And I'll be honest, as far as I hate betting futures. I hate putting something in and waiting to have it pay off months down the line. I actually don't mind it with this league. It's not a long. It's gonna
go by quick.
Yeah, it's gonna fly by pretty quick. And honestly, there's not a ton of games. Like, you're gonna be it's gonna be juicy every week in and week out. And it wouldn't shock me if this Louisville team. I know we've given kind of our predictions as far as wins and losses. I would imagine the book is probably going to put us at 4.5 maybe, 4.5, 5.5 maybe on the season.
I'd say probably 5.5.
Don't put us at 4.5.
You think 4.5?
I mean,
if second to last,
yeah,
true.
It can't be much. It wouldn't shock me if it was like 3.5, honestly. And if it's that 3.5, 4.5 split, I'm taking it. I'm going crazy.
I'm taking the 3.5. If they get us to 3.5, with us having what is expected to be not as good teams on our home schedule, I'm chalking those up as wins. Give me those 4+ wins for sure.
Yeah, I'll stick it at the 4.5. Wouldn't shock me if it's 5.5.
You guys make a really good point that I feel like it comes down to the fact that we already almost out of here.
We are.
Oh, I thought it was 59. Oh, okay. That you guys make a good point that I feel like this is something that could switch up really fast in this league. One or 2 weeks, you could see bets going in, bets flying, teams moving around all over the place. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But we do got to get out of here. We appreciate you guys for listening in. Matt Childress, Grant Skaggs, Roman Kelly. Hop in the Louisville Kings Discord. Interact with us on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. This has been the Three-Man Front.
We'll catch
you guys next Thursday.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a diehard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know